There are three core stages of attraction when it comes to women. Each stage involves different behavior and different levels of game to keep her moving along the stages of attraction. Some guys are really good at the initial process, the pickup, the first stage. They get on a date, they're terrible, or they can't escalate to intimacy. Some guys are terrible at retaining after intimacy. They can get on the date, they can escalate to intimacy, but then after that they come mushballs, soft, weak, gay. And that's when women ghost. You have to be good at all three stages of attraction to maintain the desire long term. Let me explain what these stages are in this beautiful Picasso-style illustration I have on this board. Could you believe I did this on my own? This dotted line is the line that is the line of her desire for you and her attraction to keep her moving along the stages. As you can see, the number increases 7, 8, 9 because her desire must increase with time. You cannot keep her at a 7 and get her to sleep with you. You need to increase as you move along. The three stages: first impression, second, on dates, and third, 3+ dates, intimacy. Now, each stage has what I call a dead zone. The dead zone is below the baseline where you're not progressing and things end. So this could be not even getting to a first date. This could be not getting to intimacy. This could be getting to intimacy and 3 dates, but then she ghosts you or she vanishes. So let's go stage by stage. Stage 1, first impression. Now, I don't care where you met her, through friends, in person, online, etc. This is the first impression stage. The entire premise of this stage is to convert to a date as efficiently as possible. Now, during this stage, you have to understand what is required. We need to get them to a 7 or higher on the desired attraction scale for them to feel inclined to show up on a date. Now, how do we do that? Well, you need to understand that we need to spike emotions, because we can just work backwards on what you shouldn't do in the dead zone, right? When you're in the dead zone and you don't hit 7 or higher on the interest scale to get her on a date, you lacked emotional stimulation. Now, this is how you're communicating, how you're texting, how you're building rapport, how you're building certainty. If you don't spike any emotion and you are, how was your weekend? We should catch up soon. Dead zone. Bleh. Everything dies. Your cadence was poor. What does that mean? You need to find the sweet spot for texting cadence to set up plans. You text too much, too soon, dead zone. You don't strike while the iron is hot, and you're trying to play it too cool, and you're doing long game, dead zone. You need a sweet spot on the cadence that depends on her schedule. If she's out of town, don't be texting her all the time. Bad cadence. If she's available, don't wait weeks. Bad cadence. You need to find the sweet spot depending on how efficiently you can see this person in human life, in real life. Social proof was subpar. One of the big reasons why women don't go out with guys is lack of interest, obviously, but also a lack of certainty. Women are finicky. They're cats. They run away. And they need a lot of certainty to show up on a date with you. The most efficient way to build certainty is with your social proof. Now, this doesn't mean you need 1 million friends, but this does mean that your online social proof and branding needs to be good enough to where it spikes certainty. And you can also build certainty over texting and doing certain things, etc. The point is, it has to be there because they're riddled with anxiety. Because they're riddled with anxiety, they need extra certainty, more certainty than you and I could ever need. We do that with our social proof. If it's subpar, then we don't build enough certainty or desire or intrigue, dead zone. Wasn't in the sweet spot of play and dictator. This goes into emotional polarity. You have to understand, the more attractive, higher quality women you're looking to date, the better your game has to be. I can message a 35-year-old single mother and say, we're going out right now, get ready, you have 20 minutes. And she would do it. But that does not work on the 20-year-old with tons of options and very high value. It takes elevated game. And for you to master the highest qualities of women possible and move up the ladder, you have to master emotional polarity. You have to master playing in between playfulness and dictator. I call it playful dominance, because that spikes incredibly strong emotion that's going to motivate them to a 7 or 10 or higher and meet up with us in person. If we lack emotional polarity, if we lack the assertiveness coupled with the playfulness, then they're probably going to land around a 5 or 6 and it'll just never happen. It's never going to convert. So you need to stay out of the dead zone by avoiding these mistakes, getting them to a 7 or higher, and getting them on a goddamn date with you. If you're not getting past this stage, it's because you're in this dead zone doing all of these things. This is your mistakes. This is what's happening. As a result, you maybe get them to a 4 or a 5 or a 6 even, to where they're engaging and they're having good energy, but you never see them because you only got them to a 6. Needs to be a 7 or higher. Stage 2, this is on dates. Again, 8 out of 10 or higher on the desire scale to escalate physically. Because think about it. You could get them to a 7. They show up on a date. You never sleep with them. There's never any intimacy. You probably took them and kept them at a 7, or because of your on-date behavior, nuked it to dead zone. And now they're at a 3 and now you have no chance. But even at a 7, that's just to get them on a date. They're not going to sleep with you at a 7. It needs to be 8 or higher. And our job is to get them from 7 to 8, 9, 10 for intimacy, to escalate physically. Now, if that's not happening, if you're not hitting this baseline, here's what's going on. The date was interview vibe. This is one of the biggest mistakes you can ever make, is trying to be polite, trying to be cordial, and just asking them cookie cutter questions and then answering cookie cutter questions and having it be interview style. This happens especially if you do a dinner date, which I never recommend. But you're sitting across from them, it's just questions and questions, just yuck, okay? You're taking it from a 7 to a 0 in real time. Women don't even want to work. Why do you think they want to be on an interview? And if she tries to do it to you, it is your job to be the puppet master of emotion, give bullshit answers, throw it back, and change the vibe. Because if they're doing it, they're nervous or autistic. And we need to be in control. Compliment her / nervous. This could also happen in stage 1, for sure. Complimenting and validating is one of the quickest ways to nuke desire and attraction. The second you do it on a subconscious level, women think he's below me. Powerful men that are above them, the guys they are hardwired to seek because of primal and subconscious needs, never compliment them because they're better and they know they have all of them, and so there's no point. You signal that you're below her in value the second you compliment. This will get you in the dead zone. Don't do it. There's no point. You're already spending money and going on a date with her. She knows you're into her. That's plenty. This kills mystery. The talking split was terrible. If you're on a date, you want 70-30, 80-20 in her favor. She should be yapping her ass off. Comfortable, laughing, asking, like her answering all your questions, etc., and you tease, okay? If it's 50-50, if you're talking more, desire 0, dead zone. Women are at peak emotional state when they are talking about things they enjoy. Very simple. If she's talking about things or listening to you talk about nonsense, which could be logic-based, reality-based, about your job, about your work, dead zone. That does not make them want to sleep with you. That makes them hate you. I don't care how accomplished you are, where you went to college, what your business does. If you accomplish the 4-hour goddamn work week and you're all proud of yourself, guess what? Women don't know, they don't care, and they will hate you. And they won't want to sleep with you, no matter how successful you might be, if it's not them talking about things they enjoy. Nuked. Questions not stimulated. Now, you want to ask questions that are relevant. You don't want to go on ChatGPT and say, what are the best first date questions? And then fucking ask them, okay? You're a loser. You're a geek. They know you went to AI because you get no women. Because of that, it screams scarcity. Because of that, dead zone. Your questions need to be relevant. Needs to make sense. Needs to stimulate emotions, not, where's the next place on your travel? Hey, dude, terrible, right? Terrible. Learn some elevated game. A cookie cutter question is like the fastest way for a woman to be like, yeah, he gets no women. Yeah, he has no experience with women. He's not interesting. He's boring. Dead zone. No teasing. And what I actually wrote, no tension created. You need to create tension. A lot of guys are so nice and so polite and such gentlemen, and they're so amazing at creating comfort. But you need comfort and you need tension, and you have to be in the sweet spot of this. If you're not taking bold chances with conversation or teasing or any tension or any of these things, you're not going to get her to 8 or higher. It's impossible. It is impossible without tension for a woman to feel 8 or higher and want to be with you physically, because you did not do your job to demonstrate the hierarchy that you are above her and that you are better. You didn't do it. The only way to create it is to verbally and non-verbally show I'm better than you and I don't give a fuck. If you don't do that, she will never sleep with you. This is that important. And you will stay at a 5 or a 6 in terms of interest because you didn't create tension. You need both. Comfort with no tension. Oh, I had so much fun. I just didn't feel a spark. Or I don't do this on the first day. No tension. When you hit tension and you hit comfort and you hit polarity, that's when all rules go at the table. They're obsessed with you. 8 or higher. Post-date texting was terrible. It's a big one, okay? Let's say you have a decent first date. Decent enough to where she wants to see you again. And she wasn't totally turned off. But still, it wasn't a great date. But your texting sucks. I had so much fun with you last night. Oh my God, you looked amazing. What can I see again? Nuke. Dead zone. Hiroshima. Your post-date texting has to be congruent with everything we got going on. It's massively important to maintain the 8, to maintain the 7 at least, right? To get to another date. You cannot assume, oh, we had a great first date. Now I can just drop all the rules and be nice and show my cards. Dead zone. It's that important. Number 3, 3+ dates / intimacy. The intent of this stage is to obviously escalate physically. Now, if you get to stage 3, you did escalate physically, you did have intimacy, and now it's about you want her in your orbit, you want to progress this forward, you want longer term things. Okay? Now, you need to be at a 9 or 10 on the desire scale to keep this going. Do not just think, well, we slept together and so she's in love with me. That's not true. Certain things need to happen to not end up in the dead zone even after intimacy. This is where all other men become invisible and submission is shown to you from her. Now, god damn it. Well, how do we end up in the dead zone? I can still read this. We love bombed her. This is one of the quickest ways to end up in the dead zone. You sleep with her, you like her, you normally don't date a lot, so you're avoiding the pain of dating, and you cling. And you're like, oh God, where are we going with this? Future pacing, right? Love bombing, tell her how much you like her. Dead zone. You maintain or increase from a 9 to a 10 by her not knowing everything. Mystery, not showing your card, not showing your hand. You love bomb, you end up dead. No behavioral discipline after feelings are involved. This is one of the most common mistakes. You've been seeing her a few weeks, maybe a few months, you've been sleeping with her, you've been dating her, things are going great, she's really cool. You get soft and mushy. You start doing more. You start being more generous. You start saying yes to more. You stop saying no. You prioritize her more than anything else because you're leading with your feelings in your heart. Guess what happens? No behavioral discipline. You changed from the man that got her to here. You changed here to more of a loser, even though she baited you into doing it and said she wanted it. And as a result, dead zone. You have to have behavioral discipline to say, I want to do these things for her, but I'm not going to. Because I know if I do these things, I'm going to end up in the dead zone. She doesn't want you to change. She might bait you into trying to get you to change and to say yes to more things. She does not want you to change. You can never change. Too much too soon, too cold, no sweet spot. This is also a common one. If you've been watching a lot of dating content, then you're aware, okay, I can't be mushy, I can't be this, can't be that. But then you go overly cold and you don't reward good behavior and you don't incentivize more and more and more. And you don't show with your actions and your nonverbal behavior that you enjoy when she behaves well. You're just cold all around. You're just heartless. That's also not going to work because you need to hit a spectrum of emotions for 9 + 10 and submission. Submission is not formed because you guys had sex and then you call her once a month. That's not how you create submission. You need to be rewarding good behavior and punishing bad behavior. You need to be conditioning and correcting these things. Women look to you for structure. They look to you for how should I behave? What is he like? Their whole purpose is to please you, make you happy. But if you don't show them how and tell them how and have things in place and you just call them once a month and you're cold as shit, you're not gonna get submission. You're not gonna get submission. You cut off all other women. This is also another catastrophic mistake. Oh, she's amazing, she's great, I'm gonna talk to nobody else and flirt with nobody else and just completely cut everything off for this girl. You prioritize her too much. She forgets your value. She feels like you'll never replace her. She gets very comfortable. As a result, dead zone. There needs to be an element of fear of replacement for a woman to be a 9 or 10 or higher. They can never forget your leverage. They can never forget your power. That is when they're on their best behavior and they respect and admire you for the long horizon, and that's when submission is formed. If you're a successful guy that wants to master women in dating, click the link below to work with me one-on-one, and I'll see you in the next video.